adding and subtracting fractions, and we're going to concentrate on how to add and subtract fractions when your denominators are not the same, unlike denominators. So let's look at some rules here for adding, subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. First, we want to find the LCD of the denominators of the fractions, and then if possible, we're going to convert each fraction. It says write each fraction as an equivalent fraction whose denominator is the LCD. Add or subtract the like fractions, and then reduce your answer if possible. Let's look at an example. We have here 5/6 plus 1/12. And we want to add both fractions. But before we add both fractions, we have to make sure our denominators are the same. And as we look at each fraction, we do not have a common denominator. We have 6 and 12, so we want to find the LCD, and our LCD for 6 and 12 is 12. So as you convert, you may end up converting here both fractions or just one fraction. And as we look at 5/6 and 1/12, we only need to convert one fraction, the first fraction, which is 5/6, because the 1/12, it's already in twelfths. So I'm going to write 12 next to the 5/6 because that's the one that we need to convert. So what will we multiply 5/6 by to get it into twelfths? Start from your denominator. 6 times what gives you 12? We have 2. So we're going to times 2 in the denominator as well as in the numerator. And times your 2 to the 10, 2 to the 5. 5 times 2, we have 10. I'm going to place a box around the fraction that we converted. That's our equivalent fraction there. So now we have 10/12 plus 1/12. Common denominator is 12. Bring together your 10 and 1, adding, and add 10 and 1, we have 11/12. And if possible, if we could reduce 11/12, we would, but we cannot for this particular question. We're going to subtract 2/3 and 1/4. So as we look at 2/3 and 1/4, we're subtracting. Denominators are not the same, so we will have to find the LCD. So the LCD, least common denominator, for 3 and 4 is 12. So ask yourself, do I need to convert just one fraction or do I need to convert all fractions? And for this question here, we're going to have to convert both fractions. So we want to, what I like to do is just write the LCD next to each fraction. And then we're going to convert 2/3 and 1/4 into twelfths. Write the equivalent fraction. So what will you have to multiply 2/3 by to get it into twelfths? Well, we're going to times that by 4. 3 times what gives you 12? That's 4. We times 4 in the denominator as well as the numerator, and 2 times 4 is 8. So that's our first fraction that we converted. Now let's look at the second fraction. We have 1/4, and we want to convert 1/4 into twelfths. So 4 times what number would give us 12? And that is 3. And 3 times 1 is 3. So now we have our new fractions, 8/12 and 3/12 that we are going to subtract. common denominator is 12. Subtract 8 and 3. 8 minus 3. We have 5. And keep our denominator the same. So our answer is 5/12. We're going to add -5/9 and 1/3. So we have -5/9, and we're adding that to 1/3. So we have denominators that are not the same. We want to find the least common denominator. And the LCD for 9 and 12 is 9. All right, so let's ask yourself, which fraction what will we have to convert here? The first fraction or the second or both? And as we look at the first fraction, the -5/9 is in ninths, so there's no need to convert the first fraction. But the second fraction we will convert because your denominator is not 9. So I'm going to write 9 next to the 1/3, and let's times 1/3 by what to convert it into ninths. We're going to times by 3. And 3 times 1 is 3. So that's our new converted fraction. So now we have -5/9 plus 3/9. Denominator stays the same. Bring together your numerator. And we have -5 plus 3. Think of your integer rules. Signs are different, so we're going to subtract. Take the sign of the higher number. So we have here -2/9. We're going to subtract 7/12 and 5/18. So as you look at this question, you notice that the denominators are not the same. Well, we want to make both denominators equivalent or identical. So let's find the LCD. Now, one way of finding the LCD is writing the prime factors for 12 and 18, or we can list the multiples of 12 and 18. Either way, they're going to work. You're going to be able to find the LCD. Now, let's list the multiples just for review. List the multiples of 18. We have 18, we have 36, and 18 times 3. We have 54, 18 times 4. We have 72. Well, as we go down the line and we're going to ask ourselves, can 12 divide into any of those multiples? But we want to choose the smallest multiple. So beginning with 18, can 12 divide into 18 evenly? Well, no. Can 12 divide into 36 evenly? We say yes. 12 can divide into 36 3 times. Now you can keep going. 12 does divide into 72, but we're looking for the least common. So our LCD is 36. So we're going to convert both fractions into having a denominator of 36. So as we look at 7/12, what can we multiply 12 by to get us 36 so we can have 36? Well, we're going to times 12 by 3 and 3 to the 7. So 3 times 7 is 21. And then let's look at 5/18. We want to convert that into 36. We're going to times that by 2. And 2 times 5, we have 10. So now we have 21 over 36 and 10 over 36. Now our denominators are the same. 36, bring together your numerators, 21 and 10. We're going to subtract 21 and 10. And we have 11 over 36. Let's simplify. Negative 5 over 14 plus 3 over 7 minus 1 over 2. As you notice, our denominators, we have the following: 14, 7, and 2. We want to find the least common denominator for 14, 7, and 2, and the LCD is 14. So at this point, we want to ask ourselves, which fractions will we have to convert? Is it all 3, 2 out of 3, 1 out of 3 here? So as we look at each fraction, the first fraction, negative 5 over 14, we do not have to convert because the denominator is in 14ths. But the second fraction, we will have to convert to 14ths, as well as the third fraction. So we have 3 over 7. What will we have to multiply 3 over 7 by to get it into 14ths? We're going to times by 2. And 2 times 3 is 6. And the last fraction, negative 1 over 2, we want to convert that into 14ths. We're going to times 1 over 2 by 7. And 7 times 1, we have 7. So now we have three fractions that we're going to convert. Negative 5 over 14, 6 over 14, minus 7 over 14. Common denominator is 14. Bringing together your numerators, negative 5 plus 6 minus 7. And we have, let's go in order, negative 5 plus 6, we have 1, and 1 minus 7. We will have negative 6 over 14. So before we end this question, let's look at negative 6 over 14. Ask yourself, can this fraction be reduced? And we can reduce it by dividing a 2 out of the numerator and denominator, and negative 6 over 14 reduces to negative 3 over 7.